Hello, my name is Samantha Lopes. This is Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19 Restrictions. My main research questions were on the beneficial restrictions of Article 19, freedom of opinion and expression. I initially questioned who benefits from these restrictions and why we need to uphold specific boundaries on mainly freedom of expression. The reason why I singled out freedom of expression is because it's typically in the expression of opinions that can incite violence or impede on other individual rights. My argument furthers to three main ideas: hate speech and violence, the effects on minority groups, and what other freedoms this may affect. My thesis on this research introduces all three main ideas to the audience. The facts that I listed demonstrate what impacts may be caused by loopholes in these restrictions and further why restrictions are beneficial for not only the individual but the groups that are typically impacted by expression rights. I pointed out that even though there is a rise in rallies and demonstrations from both extreme political points of view, it is not entirely the ideas at fault. Freedom of opinion is an almost absolute right. This is because opinion, when kept to oneself, is not inherently damaging. However, freedom of expression is capable of defamation, fraud, true threat, and violence. Thus is the reason for beneficial restrictions. I included in my final fact a cautionary of heavy restrictions and why total censorship may not be beneficial in reference to government intervention. I will touch lightly on this topic further in the presentation. With any good research, it is important to note a few counter-arguments. While all opinions deserve protection, it's in those opinions' expression that can be a threat to national security and may harm individuals and their own personal freedoms and rights. It all lies in the finer details of these restrictions to create a blueprint for equality. I wasn't able to come up with any future potential solutions. This is due to the fact that every country already has its own restrictions and solutions to hate speech, violence, and other expression rights. These specific restrictions can usually be found in each individual country's constitution. A country's constitution typically overrides the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Articles, and Freedoms. Thus, the current solutions in place suffice. However, even if the current solutions suffice, it is still important for all communities to try and uphold an emphasis on the protection of individuals and minority groups. One such emphasis is through net neutrality and freedom of expression online. While the internet is a borderless place, censorship from each country can hinder the other rights under Article 19. These rights are to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontier. If we allow further censorship, a government could take control of anything its citizens see online. This demeans freedom of opinion and expression. The current solutions put in place are beneficial in order to protect all individuals and groups. Even the most hated opinions deserve their rights and recognition. Why should we fight to protect the restrictions already imposed on freedom of opinion and expression, but also fight to protect these rights themselves? It is not for the individual to decide what is morally right or wrong in opinion. It is only up to the individual to protect against hateful violence and threat. Understanding why we implement restrictions is beneficial in this argument. This research was intended for those who also hope to advocate for these restrictions and causes. I hope to not only educate others but to further my knowledge of this topic. I chose this topic due to recent protests of both sides of the political spectrum. With the current disagreements in our government and Congress, it can be confusing to take sides without fully being knowledgeable on why we would have restrictions and what should be restricted. I was happy with my research, but hope to find more in the future to continue learning. Although I would further want to narrow my argument on a single restriction or situation. I was most proud of my conclusion and introduction to my research and argument. This research was a big reality check for me and my standpoint politically. In the future, I hope this research method will benefit me and allow me to take my time in finding credible sources and annotating said sources. Thank you.